Hi everybody. Thank you for joining me on this short training video on Xpress Insight project and scenario attachment. This is Majid Bazrafshan and I'm a member of FICO Xpress optimization team. During last few videos, we learned about building Xpress Insight applications using VDL. In this video, I will be showing you how you can configure your applications to be able to upload and download scenario and/or project attachments within the UI. I would like to start by showing you where you can find user guide and documentations on attachments. Under Docs Insight folder in your Xpress installation directory, there is Xpress Insight Developers Guide, which contains a section on attachments. Attachments are files you can associate with an app or an individual scenario. They can either be provided within the initial app archive in the project attachments folder or created and modified by interacting with Xpress Insight itself. One advantage of attachments over model resources is that attachments can be updated by Xpress Insight, whereas model resources are not changeable once the app has been created. Attachments provide a more flexible way of handling data files than model resources folder. Uses of attachments include capturing inputs during scenario load or run actions, capturing output of scenario results, reading data from other scenarios. Other powerful use cases for attachments, and by implication differences between attachments and model resources files are the fact that attachments can be easily switched or removed by users. Attachments can be associated with tags, allowing users to control what data is processed without changing the underlying model. So again, app attachments can be used as an alternative to model resources files to provide a source of input data. The advantage they have over model resources is that an app attachment can be updated via the web client, whereas model resources are final once the app has been created. Here is an example where there are multiple project attachments with specific tags. Users can download or upload new files and assign the already created tags to change data files that are being processed. Here is a simple way to change your model resources files to an attachment with a specific and unchangeable name. Before a model can use an app attachment, it must download it from Xpress Insight server. The command is insight get proj attach. After this call, a local copy of the file is available in Mosel's working directory, where it can be read as you usually would in Mosel. Scenario attachments can both be read and written by the model. They have two main uses: as an additional source of input data and as a way of creating alternative result artifacts such as spreadsheets. A model can create scenario attachments as a result of its execution. The file to attach must first be created in the Mosel working directory before being transferred to the server. As you see in both project and scenario attachment, I have used tag names for my input and result files. The reason that I'm doing this is because that way I don't need to delete my older input files to upload a new version, but can keep them both and only select the new file by assigning the right tag. Then Xpress Insight will process the tag file. Apps can define a number of attachment tags to identify attachments which have a special function within the model. The model and custom views can then refer to these attachments by tag name instead of file name. You can add or remove tags on an attachment using the attachments dialog in the web client, and in this way, they can indicate that an attachment should be used by the model for a particular purpose. Without tags, user could only achieve this by naming their file with a special file name known by the model. Tags are defined in the companion file within the attachment config tag, attachment config element, which should be placed immediately before the client element. In addition to its name, a tag can have the following properties: description, a description of tag's purpose; usage, which can be single file or multiple file, and that determines whether only one attachment per scenario can have this tag or whether several attachments can have the tag at the same time; and mandatory. If mandatory is set to true, an attachment must exist with this tag before the scenario can be executed. By default, mandatory is set to false. So the XML attachment config is the first step toward bringing model resources to project and scenario attachments with tags. As you see in this example, I have two attachment tags. One is named input data, and the second is named result file. The next step in creating project and scenario attachment is modifying our Mosel model. First, adding the initial file names in the parameter section. And second, removing previous file name assignments and adding the following block immediately before your Insight get mode structure. So lines 127 to 131 would tell Xpress if the model is being run from Insight, then it would go into the get attachment procedure to get the input file name. Otherwise, it would stick to the original input file name that you have provided in the parameter section. The third step is adding the Insight get attachments procedure. In this case, I'm downloading a file by a tag input file and assign the name to the input file name string entity that I later use in my initializations block. As we discussed, we want to write the result to a CSV file with a tag called result file. To do so, we need to define a procedure in which we use the command Insight put send attach to upload the file to the Xpress Insight server. This procedure makes it available to the UI. After adding the procedures, we need to call the procedure put scenario attach after writing the result back to the CSV file. In this case, I'm calling the procedure immediately after retrieving solutions, which is the last process in my run. Now, let's assume that you don't want to go to the attachments dialog, but you would rather have a VDL tab that you can directly upload files or download them. In that case, after these 5 steps, you would need to take one more step, and that is nothing but adding VDL attachment button with actions upload or download for each tag that you have created. These 2 examples are for input and result file within one VDL page. Thanks again for joining me on this video.